Thank you for such inspiring stories. It's amazing. I went to, I'm an EMBA 2020. I actually went to school with Belinda. I can tell you firsthand how amazing it has been to see her uh, grow into this amazing person. She was already amazing, but even more amazing. And same thing. I got to tell you, the EMBA program has been fundamentally transformational for me. Uh, Let me start with introducing myself. So my name is Jauregui. I work as the Global Vice President of Robotic Solutions and Strategic Partnerships for a company called ESAP. I mainly focus on both organic and inorganic growth in the manufacturing and automation market. And I also work as a consultant for private equity and advisor to startups. And one thing I can tell you is there was a life before UCLA and a life post UCLA. And I have to echo Sumida when she says, you are in my case, my background is I'm an engineer by trade. And before UCLA, I basically got typecasted into this role of being the R&D VP or the R&D director, always the R&D guy, always the guy who only knew how to make things, but never could translate that into business. Right before I joined UCLA, I also started working with a startup. We were a team of 3 people, and going to UCLA for me was a way to do 2 things: get out of this typecast situation where I would only be considered for technical positions, and then maybe give me the tools to take the startup that we were working on to the next level. And the reality is that as much as we had a great product and a great idea, we were not getting any traction. We had a family and friends $50,000 fund that was running low, and the reality is that we were not going anywhere. So then I joined UCLA, and everything was transformational. But I do have to emphasize that the programs that really made an impact in my professional development were the BCO program, and then the certificates. Because as much as you think you know what you want to do with your career, well, again, I thought I wanted to climb the corporate ladder, and I thought an alternative path would be to go through my own startup. Once you go through UCLA, there are so many doors that become open, and you get exposed to so many things that as you're thinking you're going in a direction, you will likely switch and pivot, and you sometimes don't know which direction to go. So something that I did to add a little bit of a structure, because I don't want to contradict myself here, my best advice to you as you're considering going through this journey is think about what you like, think about your passions, and then try to align the types of classes and electives that you take following that. Because you don't want to just follow a trend, you do want to follow what you like to do as a person, because at the end of the day, that's what will make you happy. But as I say that, I try to give myself some structure, and I ask some fundamental questions. And one of the fundamental questions was, do I want to stay in tech? The second question was, do I want to go into business? And yes, of course, that's the area that I want to work into. And then the third question was whether I wanted this position to be local or global. And I do have a passion for travel. I love other cultures. And I answered that question also on the positive. I realized, hey, I want to be somebody that will be not just local, but international. So answering those 3 questions, I selected 3 certificates. One was entrepreneurship. The other one was international business. And the other one was basically technology. I ended up getting 2 out of the 3, but I took enough class. I think I was short of 1 for my technology certificate. But I tell you, it really changed everything as I knew it. from the startup, before the program, as I mentioned, we were struggling to get financing. By the time I was done with the program, we had been funded at almost $3 million, and now we're at $9 million. Many of the doors that previously had been closed for us in terms of pitching, all of a sudden were open as soon as there was somebody there with a Anderson degree. At the same time, especially in Southern California, the network of Anderson alumni that are in private equity, venture capital, angel investors is huge. It's huge. So just having that name there opens a bunch of gates. In addition to that, I can't emphasize enough how professors in the VCO program are available to you outside of class. It's just amazing how much they would free their time up to help me. And I'm it's not just me. You can hear from Belinda and everybody else that they'll just make time. I remember there was one crucial moment when we were negotiating our term sheet with Upfront Capital, and Professor Shinerock basically, I called him at an ungodly hour. He basically replied, I don't know, the guy probably doesn't sleep either. And he helped us out and, put together, make sure that our term sheet was presentable in a way that we would be in a good position against the investors. So amazing resources. But also something that I want to put on the table for all of you guys that are thinking about entrepreneurship, something else that UCLA gives you is the network and the preparation, not to only look at entrepreneurship in the classic way. Something to think about is entrepreneurship through acquisitions and entrepreneurship through corporations. So with acquisitions, you will get all the tools that you will need to put together a deck that you can then present to a private equity company or a angel investor when it comes to acquiring an existing company and then turning it around. That's something that actually I explored with some support from some of the professors and my classmates, more importantly. And things didn't work out the way we wanted it because of COVID. It was just an unfortunate event. But the experience of going through that, going through the due diligence, going through the final rounds of due diligence before acquiring a company, it's just something that you can put on your resume, and it keeps opening doors. So lots of resources. And finally, one thing I can tell you is, in my case, today I do, as I mentioned, I do some of the coaching and the advising and mentoring. But I decided that a path for me to go through an alternative way of entrepreneurship was to carve my own path within my company. And after I graduated, I had a couple of opportunities, and I presented my case to my corporation. I said, hey, guys, I'm planning to leave because this is what I'm pursuing. And having taken all these classes at the MBA allowed me to negotiate a new position for myself. So today, the position I work with at the corporation is basically a startup within the corporation. We didn't have a robotics and analytics division. So they say, hey, why look outside? You have all these different qualities. Why don't you start a company within our company, and you will work on startup mode? We'll give you a budget. You'll be able to acquire some smaller startups. So my point with this is, you don't have to be set in a certain direction. You can have the entrepreneurship spirit in you and still form it and craft it to make you happy. And all those tools will be given to you in the program. I think you'll have an amazing time. And I cannot tell you enough how important and life-changing it is to join Anderson. It'll be great for you.
Thank you, Javier. Again, love hearing your update. And again, just different paths. And that's what's so unique. I mean, we could have had 30 students and alumni here, and each person has a distinct story and distinct reason of kind of where this helped them reach your goals. So thank you for sharing that, and congrats on where you are.